What happened?
Steve, I was invited to Hawaii with my dad in my second year of business. Super excited, right? Because it's like, man, when you get invited to Hawaii, you gotta go. It's a beautiful place, and let me tell you, we were not doing well as a family, as financially at that point,
Mm.
but we were very lucky to go on this trip. Um, and what we did was we went there, and I had a kind of a disaster in my business.
Mm.
And
Uh-oh.
that disaster, it started off with
Yeah. By how do you mean?
yeah. So I was just kind of hanging out by the pool, really, happy to be out in the sun with my kiddos, and I got a call from a customer saying, "Man, I'm really happy with the job that you did. You did a great job. We're thrilled." And this is, by the way, an $11,000 job that we did in a city called Evergreen, this
Hmm.
beautiful town, high altitude in Colorado. And he said, "Yeah, we're thrilled, and you guys did a good job. You're a new company, but at the end, we gave a check, the final check to your production manager, and yeah, we wrote it out to his name
Ooh.
instead of your company, and that's what he asked for. After all, is that you write it out. We write it out to his name, that final check, and we gave him the
Ooh.
check, and we're thrilled, and the production manager's thrilled too that the job went well, and I." And I'm thinking, oh no, like that's really unusual, And so I tried to call my production manager at the time, and he didn't answer his phone. And this is somebody I hired, my second year. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have any system set up, and he basically just took the check. The total job, $1,100. Sorry, 11,000,
11,000.
and the balance on that is going to be about 9,000.
Oh.
So I'm
Oh.
sitting and I'm in Hawaii. It sounds good, but when you have no money in your bank account and you're starting out, it's terrifying. I was terrified. My wife was maybe not happy with me that I let this happen, but it was just a lack of system. So when I got back from Hawaii, I tried to track him down. I couldn't. I enlisted my mother-in-law, who is a cop, to go with
Hey.
me, Steve, to one of your favorite places called Starbucks.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a hold of the production manager's wife and maybe made a few threats. And she ended up meeting me there. So I drove there, and she gave me the refund check, which wasn't the full amount. It was maybe for about half,
Mm.
for one reason or another. But that level of stress, to feel like you worked hard, to lose that money, and to have to go through all these methods, just spoke to kind of a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding. And
Yeah.
I was very humbled and freaked out about it.
Oh, talk about the worst vacation ever. I would have thought Hawaii would have been so heart-wrenching right now.
Yeah. And here you
Oh,
are in this
man.
beautiful place, but
Yeah.
underneath it,
You're not able
and
to
this
be
is the
present.
nature, yeah, of like
Yeah.
being a business owner, right? In your first 2 years, if you leave it and you don't have those systems in place, very, very hard and stressful. But I wanted to test it. I was like, can I do this? And I just got punked, like
Yeah.
it was so bad.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh,
anyway,
man. Yeah.
yeah,
Goodness. Oh,
yeah,
man. Talk about school hard knocks, huh? We've got them. Scars and knocks and whew.
yeah. It's the best
Yeah.
school. Like, I think of all the things I've learned in life,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I went to college and did that, but like all the lessons that are so true have been learned in the marketplace, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
it's the best way to learn, if you have a great idea, is to just get out there and find out. And it's painful. It can be very painful, but you get the truth through the marketplace, which is something I've always appreciated. So,
Yeah, right on. Reminds me of a quote Jim Rohn used to say before he passed. And he says, "Don't become a millionaire for the money. Become a millionaire," or we could say build a $1 million business for the person you have to become to get there. You know?
yeah. And really, this we're developing ourselves, and um, that's what this is all about. And I've always felt like when I work hard on myself, when I'm reading books,
Hmm.
when I'm putting in the work, it pays off. And usually there's a delay. So it's not like, oh man, I just read 40 books in 40 weeks. And it's almost like there's a a delay that happens a little bit with that, where like all of a sudden you're like, man, I've reached a new level, a new understanding.
Yeah. Well, well, before we dive into that, let's circle back and welcome everybody back to the DYB podcast. Today's guest was first on with us back in 2018. I believe it was episode 46. He's from Denver, Colorado. And he shared his startup to success story. And some of the highlights were the importance of having a go giver mindset, how the DYB system has completely transformed his business, generating high value referrals, saving him from blowing thousands of dollars on paid leads, and therefore cranking out some serious profits. How to build a real sales process, including the DYB pre-selling emails. He also shared along the way that he had zero painting experience. In fact, beforehand, he used to be a meteorologist, and he shared those stories as well, which are really cool. So make sure you go back and check out his first show, episode on 46, I believe. I brought him back on because there's more. It's like, but wait, there's more. And it's pretty exciting. So Cameron Loughlin, welcome back to the show, my friend. President of Ace Hardware Painting. What?
Yeah, yeah, it's a little crazy, right? Like, it's a good question. What?
What?
Um,
What is that? What
you
Ace
know,
Hardware
I've
Painting
always
Services?
learned that life has some twists and turns in it, Steve, that
Mm-hmm.
you kind of have to be open to what the universe has in store for you. And in 2021, we're just kind of going about our business, and this amazing opportunity came to me just as kind of a blessing and as a gift. And Ace Hardware is busy building different verticals for their services. They're getting into the service vertical platform, and one of those is paint. And they've got a really unique relationship with Benjamin Moore, where they carry their paint. So, in a nutshell, we were lucky to paint for the CEO of Ace Handyman, a great guy named Andy Bell, who happens to live about 7 minutes from me. And we painted for him a couple times, and he said, I think you'd make a great brand president. Um, you've done a couple projects for us. We loved your process. And we think that, this would work out really well using the model you created. Obviously, there's seeds of the DYB system in what we do. And I know you, Steve, really well. But just to be able to be acquired by that company, which is what ended up happening. And it's just been the biggest blessing and gift for me. So I get to take this model and franchise it across the United States. And right now we have one company in the Denver area, and with many more coming. So that, in a nutshell, yeah, life has a lot of surprises, and this has just been a big gift.
So if I hear you correctly, we're breaking the news nationally, internationally, right now here on the DOB podcast. Ace Hardware Painting Services is franchising.
Yes, correct.
Wow, that is wild. Now, still Ben Moore, right? Still running strong with Ben Moore.
Yeah,
And
I
yeah,
used Aura yesterday, which is in
I
my
thought you had a glow about you.
a little satin finish as I wake up this morning. No, I can't say enough about the quality of the product, and but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're just very lucky to be able to use a great product, because when you go into a house and you're like, oh man, I got to use this, it's not ideal. So we're lucky to
Yeah.
have that relationship with a wonderful brand that's been around a very long time.
So they, without going into details, but just kind of an overview, they bought out your painting company, then brought you in as president of Ace Hardware Painting Services to develop this franchise.
That is correct. So I run the business with Andy Bell. So he is the CEO. He has more knowledge on the franchise side, having been able to grow his own handyman business. And they're absolutely flourishing right now, opening up. There's probably a new opening in that last sentence right there, just as I talk. That's how fast it's going. And
Yeah.
and then I cover the paint systems and strategy, and combined together with both of our unique abilities,
hmm
it's been really fun. So yeah.
Now, are you still running your painting company while you're building out this franchise system?
Yes. So
Wow.
we now call it it's our operations company. So this is our test kitchen, so to speak,
Mhm.
for everything
Yeah.
else we do. We learn a lot through this
Mhm.
business and still run it.
Okay, right on. All right. Now, who would be your ideal prospect for somebody looking at the franchise? So
So
in DYB,
somebody
right, we
that,
talk about 3 Ps for,
yeah,
um, mhm.
right. So we're looking for, so when I started the business, I didn't have a ton of paint knowledge, but I had good business sense. And obviously, I'd like to say the integrity and the kindness and the honesty piece. So really,
I
that
could say
side.
that for you. I will
Mhm.
say that you're one of the nicest, kindest, honest guys out there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Um, and I would say that it's paint experience in this early go. Really, we're looking for people as we get this thing piloted and out there. It's more, hey, have you owned a franchise before? Are you a retail store owner? But as we move forward, we're looking for people that really want to leverage this unbelievable brand name, because as Ace Hardware Painting Services, you have this integrity and honesty built into the brand. So this just needs to be somebody who's, a motivated professional, willing to learn systems, who is really looking for that beautiful mixture of sort of entrepreneurship, but also something maybe with a little bit more um, consistency.
Mhm.
You already have your system set up for you, and you're essentially buying a product that's already ready to go.
Ready
So
to hit
that's
the
a huge
ground running.
advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Avoid some of the mistakes we made, right?
Yeah.
Getting started.
Yeah. Like getting a check
Yeah.
stolen.
Yeah. Yeah. Quick aside, we had a painter. His name was Fabrice. I consider this because this is a good story. I can mention his name. And one of our customers said, "Hey, can I pay your lead?" I said, "Yeah, sure." He goes, and excuse me, he sent a picture. Fabrice did after the job was wrapped up, and he sent a picture and posted it in GroupMe, our team chat. He
Yeah.
said, "Man, you guys are the best." He says, "This is the best company I've ever worked for. I just, you continue to exceed expectations and blow my mind. But this $7,000 cash, um, uh, what did he call it? Not severance, but like he was quitting, like he was leaving. He's like,
Oh
thank you guys so
no.
much, right?"
No.
But he was kidding. He was kidding. It was it was a joke, right?
That is
But
hilarious.
so he's got a picture of like $7,000 cash, and so everybody starts laughing. Everybody, because he's such a great guy. We weren't worried at all. No,
Oh, goodness.
he stopped by the bank on the way home. It was all good. But it reminded me of
That
that
is
story.
hilarious. I'm glad to hear that worked out for you.
Yeah. So back to the franchises then. What's now there are others out there. What does so yours have you guys established? Now I'm not sure where it's at in the development stage, but have you established the cost to buy in and what the fees are, and can we discuss that?
Yeah, and I would actually love to have that conversation with anybody that asks me. So I was going to make myself available and give people my information so I can go through it. Um, given that we're starting up, there's some things that are a little fluid on the
Hmm,
cost side, but
sure.
the best thing I can do and can offer is would love to connect with anybody interested in this model and kind of explain it inside and out. Um, there's a lot to know. There's a lot of benefits to it, and would love to just be able to maybe drop my information and
Sure, sure.
get it
Okay, no,
if
that's
you're okay with
understandable.
that.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's still in development. So,
Yeah.
I get it. Fantastic. Cool. So, can you share with us what the company looks like today?
Yeah. So right now we've got our operations company. Our revenue is about 1.5 million. We have a small team of people based in the Denver area, and that would just be our production manager. We have a sales rep. I actually still do sales myself. I like
Hmm.
to keep my finger on the pulse. And let me tell you, Steve, this market, it's changed so much in the last couple of years because of paint shortages, because of just how dynamic the paint world is.
Hmm.
And that's really been interesting for us. It's been a bit of a roller coaster to navigate.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. Now the 1.5. This is great. What's has your tech stack changed much in the last 5 years?
Yes. So we are now, and I don't know if any, but this is relatable to anyone. Steve, I had this stack that was, hopefully Steve Burnett approved. Um, Acuity scheduling,
Hey,
firing to
yeah.
Pep Cloud, um, Acuity scheduling, firing to pipeline deals via Zapier.
Hmm.
Um, and I also had QuickBooks. I think it was looped in, but now we are using a product called Service Titan.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a beast. This is a big, big, robust platform, and in 2 weeks we're going to be onboarding it officially. So we're making a huge change. But as far as the
So,
tech
so you
stack,
haven't slept in the last 2 weeks, is what you mean?
right? Can you see the bags under my eyes?
I can relate.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
Um, so yeah, it's definitely really cool. It's really
Hmm.
exciting to have this. This isn't something I would have had access to as an entrepreneur, but to be able to utilize this technology, it's huge. Like
Hmm.
it's really a titan, and I'm just learning about it.
Right on. Right
Yeah,
on. Awesome.
yeah.
Well, update us on some of the recent books that have made an impression on you.
Thank you. Yeah. So I always go back to the Go Giver. I'm sure this
Mhm.
has probably been mentioned a million times, but I went on a road trip earlier this year and I played it for my son who's 10 years
Mhm.
old. And I said, Julian, this book right here is probably the greatest literature you're ever gonna read or listen
Mhm.
to. Just such a phenomenal book. The E Myth would be another one that I absolutely love. And then I would say the Jim Collins books, the Good to
Good to
Great.
great,
And then
built to
there's
sell.
another one called Built to Last, which I
Built to
think
last. Yeah.
collecting maybe a little dust now, like it's a little older, but it talks about how just need to a lot of like the flywheel effect. Maybe that was Good to Great, but you're pushing this boulder at first. It's really heavy, and but you keep taking action, and then over time that you start getting momentum. And the other book is Compound Effect that has
Mm.
that similar. It's really amazing what happens when you take action and consistency over time. And I think that's has to do with the ACE acquisition. It's like, man, you do all this work, it's like, where is this going? And then all of a sudden your
Boom.
momentum is there and it gets
Mhm.
really easy
Mhm.
and easier.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sorry, it never
No,
gets
that's
easy.
awesome. A quick comment there. I really appreciate you pointing out a couple of these, especially so the flywheel. I think it's chapter 7 in Good to Great. I was just
Yeah.
reviewing it myself that chapter just because just diving deep in inertia to compound effect, or in there they call it breakthrough, but we understand part of the compound effect from Darren Hardy. And I think that the compound effect was huge. Like I think back in 2009 when I read it, it just went, yeah, and the light went off, and I got it. And I just started hustling harder and then smarter. So then, excuse me, if Darren Hardy would have just included the inertia, the flywheel, I think in the compound effect. Oh man, right. So I hate to, I'm not to criticize it, but man, if he could have just dedicated a chapter to the flywheel and the compound effect, it would have, I think, just brought it all together. But instead, go ahead, grab some good to great and some compound effect, put them together, and like you just said, right.
And Steve, I just want to speak to that. It's a great point. We were around like 500,000 in revenue. And then in 2021, everything, it was almost like I would wake up in the morning and there'd be five well qualified leads in my inbox. I'd just be like, what a gift. And granted, this was COVID, right? Nobody's going on vacation yet. But that year, I was all of a sudden like these things, we would go into estimates and we were just winning them. And
Mm,
it was like we had this differentiator. And I was like, what is going on? We're $600 higher than that guy. And it was all those years of work, like collective hard work, consistency, not stopping. If you have a bad day, you keep taking action. I can't say enough to anybody listening about the power of consistency,
mm,
and to remember that it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like consistency. It looks cool from the outside. It doesn't always feel good to wake up and do it again, and take action. It feels tiring and you're tired, and to stick with it
hmm
is so important. So I think that's really important, is that the reason why some people are successful is it's not always easy. It's not always fun. But if you stick through it, there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, indeed. So trust the process, right? Trust the
Yeah.
process. Um, you know, there's one saying what that those who strike out on their own, only 3% make it, but the 97% who don't, who give up, end up working for the three who do. So keep going. Just keep going. Don't give up, right? Don't give up. Keep going.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
world has a way, if you have courage, which I think this takes, I just think that I have the sense that courage is a little bit underrated in entrepreneurship. You almost have to be consistently courageous. That courage, though, it later turns into confidence. And if you do it for long enough, and then you have something that nobody, you're pretty unique after a while because you've built all these skills up over the years and you have something unique. And I just think so highly of the people that really stick through those periods of courage because it's hard. And I'm here to tell you, if you're listening and you're struggling, I've been through it, pretty much everything uh, that entrepreneurship can deal you, maybe most of it. And I'm glad I stuck through it, but just wanted to encourage anybody that's thinking of giving up. If you love it and your heart's in it, stick with it.
Hmm. Would you encourage them to join a mastermind group, a peer group for support and inspiration, accountability?
Absolutely. And I can't say enough about those type of things because I still remember reading that book about the mastermind. It was that guy that a long time ago he wrote about the
William
Ford
Hill,
C. Yeah,
Think
yeah,
and Grow
yeah,
Rich.
and right, and the power of the mastermind. But when you're with a bunch of other people that are going through the same issues,
Hmm.
it's very helpful because let's face it, the average person is not an entrepreneur and they don't understand. Like I'll talk to them sometimes about like courage and sticking with
Mm.
it. And they're like, dude, what do you shut up? Like like I'm like, hey man, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. I'm gonna go to this mastermind group where people know what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
yes, huge.
Yeah.
And coaching, huge.
Right on. Right on.
Yeah.
This is cool. This is exciting. What's the future hold? How much of that can
Yeah.
you?
So
Mhm.
yeah, just continuing to push this thing forward, this beautiful opportunity forward, and do it with intentionality, but also doing it the right way. So one thing that I think is important to just always stick to your value system. So I'm reminded of like some of the bids I see in the market that are a lot lower than ours and just adding value. So just remembering that the things that I read in Go Giver about adding value and sticking to what's true and being a kind human being and not losing that. So just continuing to do things the right way. We're not going to be the lowest bid. We might be number 2 out of 4, but to continue to bring value instead of discounts.
Yeah. Right on. Right on. Well, Cameron, thank you very much for coming back on. This is pretty exciting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this unfolds for you. And congratulations, well deserved. Like you said, you're a fantastic guy, um, and looking forward to seeing really how this plays out for you. Maybe have you back on in another year or two, and just kind of review kind of where it's at and all the new insights and inspirations you have at that point. So I really appreciate you coming on. Before we roll out, is there a final point you'd like to make?
Yeah. So for anybody looking to connect and find out more about franchising and an opportunity, I think I'll have my information in the show notes. So thank you, Steve, for that. And just wanted to say that one thing about DYB is that, Steve, you always give people the credit, other people the credit. You're an extremely kind person and just a great guy. And I can't say enough about your heart. And anybody looking to start a business, talk to Steve. He's just one of the greatest people I've ever met. So just wanted to share that compliment loud and clear.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
How if somebody wanted to reach out with you, in case they're listening, they're not able to see the show notes. What's the best way that they can contact you?
Yeah. So that would be by email, and
Hmm.
it's an insanely long email. um, it's maybe too long to even say, and it
Well, let's
becomes
go ahead and say it. We'll put it in the show notes as well.
okay, perfect. Yeah, it's very long. So thank you.
Go ahead. So what is it? Please say it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's Clough, CLOUGH at acehardwarepaintingcorp.com.
Okay, we got it. Fantastic. Cameron, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. I really appreciate you.
My pleasure. Appreciate
Have a
you
good one.
too.